get into it. All right, as you can tell, we got the Mathews Lift here. I bought the Earth Color Mathews Lift 29.5 last January. It is February 28th, 2025 right now. So just slightly over a year since I bought it, and I'm here to talk about it. So let's get into it. All right, so first thing that we're gonna kind of talk about here is, do I like the bow? And the answer to that is yeah, I really like the bow. The bow is super smooth, but I have one complaint, and it's just a little complaint. But this thing actually cost me my elk early in the season. The back wall on this, it's a little springy, it's a little spongy. So when you get back there, if you're not continuously holding back and you let up just the slightest, or you hit that back wall too fast, it's gonna spring you forward a little bit. All right, and if you've got kind of bad shoulders like me, that just spells disaster. All right, it cost me my elk, like I was saying. I drew back on her, and as soon as I hit that back wall, since I drew back pretty quick, it kind of sponged forward and sprang forward a little bit. And unfortunately she saw that, and of course she didn't like it. So, but besides that, this bow being 29.5 inches is perfect for my setup. I mainly run out of a saddle. It's not too often that I'm stand hunting or climber hunting. I've not used a climber since probably 2019. So that being said, a smaller axle to axle bow has been very good for my setup and kind of how I hunt. So if I hunt on the ground, it's nice, it's small, it's compact, it's good to get through the brush and some of the tight areas out there. But as you can see, we're at 70 pounds and she's pretty easy to pull back, right? She's set up perfect. And man, is she smooth. She's so smooth on the release, and I love it. This bow has treated me very well. I haven't seen any issues with it. Still got some grass in some of the tight areas from elk hunting with it. But besides that, I know there's been a lot of haters out there and a lot of people complaining about the limbs breaking, limbs cracking, but I think there's just been so many sold that you're bound to have your mistakes on some of these bows. And now with social media being so interactive, it's just really, really amplified the amount of problems that you're seeing in these bows. But my setup currently that I'm running, I have a redline sight and I have redline stabilizers. I have the new model of the QAD Ultra Rest. It's the integrated MX2. So it's run real well this year. I did have one little problem with the sight. The screw on the sight actually became loose, but I couldn't tighten it down any further. So I contacted Redline, and within a week they gave me a brand new piece to put in there and a whole new frame. So I just had to take these two little bolts out, take the whole housing, slap it on the new one, and we were good to go. Didn't have to re-zero or re-sight in my bow or anything. This bow's it just shoots well. A lot of people have a lot of gripes and complaints about the strings not being the best quality. I tend to agree with that. Even though they're matched strings, they're still not the greatest. But other than that, this bow has been real solid for me, and it shoots super well. So for the price of the bow and the price of the accessories and all the Mathews stuff that you get with it, I got the Low Pro quiver for it. It just slides in real nice and easy. Locks super tight, low profile on it. Real good for maneuvering through the brush again, kind of like the smaller axle to axle bows. So the one complaint I did have with spending as much money as I did on the sight or the quiver, unfortunately, I have no idea, and I'll try to zoom in a little bit and get closer. I have no idea how that piece broke. No idea. But I did go through some real crazy stuff this year. So it just seems a little too cheaply made, especially for the price of it. So that is my one knock on the Mathews name brand accessories. Again, if you watched my last video when I bought it about a year ago, I just could not get it in me to buy the what is the interlocking, yeah, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I couldn't get it in me to buy the Mathews stabilizers, the rear stabilizer, and the mounting bracket for the rear stabilizer. It just would have been almost $800 for all that. And I don't have it in me to spend that when I can achieve the same thing with a 12-inch long front stabilizer and an 8-inch on the rear. So it's really not that bad for only spending, I think it was 150 bucks for the red line stabilizers. But other than that, just heard a lot of gripes and complaints about this bow, and I just don't see it. All right. Everyone probably has one or two complaints that they'd love to see about, they'd love to see Mathews fix. And I kind of think with the new Lift X that they came out with, and the RS and the R and whatever other bows that Mathews came out with for 2025, I kind of wish I'd waited because of the fact that you could tune your bow and your cams without having to take the whole axle out, having to replace the top hats in there. And I love that you could just do that on the new bows with an Allen key. So I think that's my only kind of regret, is not waiting until this year to buy a new bow. But man, I just don't have any major complaints with this, and I think I'll probably end up shooting this for probably as long as it lasts. I'm really happy that Mathews did come out though and say that they're willing to exchange limbs if they do break, crack, or splinter at all. Even if you're a secondhand buyer, they're still willing to back up their products and exchange limbs as part of the warranty. So with that, I really don't see any other reason to get a new bow, because if it does happen, I mean, it happens. There's just nothing you can do about it. But again, knock on wood, it hasn't happened to me yet, and I've probably put a couple thousand arrows through this in the last year or so. But with that being said, we're just gonna sit here and shoot, and yeah, go out and get yourself one. I would love to recommend this bow to pretty much everybody. The price is a bit much, but again, buy once, cry once, and you get what you pay for a lot of times. So I like the bow, and I wouldn't really trade it. So hopefully we're able to get lucky when deer season comes around this next year and get to put an arrow through a buck. Y'all have a good one.